SABC News social media specialist Sthembiso Sithole joins us now in the studio to give us a picture of what the conference has been generating in terms of social media. I don't know if it's value or currency, as we heard there from the Free State residents there. So let's just first start with the analytics, Sthembiso. So what do you guys look for? What drives the traffic? What hashtags were actually popular today?
Thanks, Sthembiso. It has been a long day, waking up early in the morning, 5 o'clock, just making sure that the SABC News audiences, both radio, TV, and digital, really get a sense of what's taking place at day one of the 55th National Congress of the ANC. Of course, I think the big thing that Sthembiso, what you normally look for is what is everyone talking about. As expected, Nazareth was trending today. ANC National Conference was trending, Kalni House was trending, Gwet was trending. It's based on what is happening, the newsmakers, and at the same time looking into what is that is topical. We saw President Jacob Zuma trending, Cyril Ramaphosa. So those are some of the metrics that we look into, and the reach that in terms of which people are tweeting from, or where are they communicating from, in which areas, and which issues really are of concern to them.
All right, let's look at the first tweet that made the rounds today. We'll put it up here on the screen. Kalni House, this picture generated quite a lot of interest. I think when we heard about this press conference, a lot of us were saying, oh, watch the space, I wonder what it's all about. Definitely.
We all know that Kalni House, over the past weeks, has been making headlines after he was expelled. He's fighting back. Interestingly, today we had Ace Makashule. Samgel was the first journalist to speak to him just outside Nazareth, and Linu Sisulu. And this picture was the talk of town, still is, based because of the fact that, of course, you can see they're forming an alliance, expressing their views, how unhappy they are. And look at the people, how many people there were there. Look at the views. Over 7,000 people have seen the videos circulating in between. So Kalni House using his platform to really mobilize and get people out there on social media.
Okay. So now let's go to the next tweet that grabbed attention. Let's put that one up.
Yeah.
And you can tell us a little bit more about that. Lisiba Kekana.
Yes.
Desperate times calls for desperate measures. In reference to what?
And the context here is in reference to that particular tweet that Kalni House released. Basically, under that timeline, people saying, well, Kalni House, you do anything. You were in Cape Town, you are here, really trying to express your views, your vote. I mean, trying to get support in between. But here, the sentiment say, you seem desperate, and a desperate person, they're saying you can do anything. Of course, that's one element in terms of the view. But other people are saying, we're with you, we know where you come from, and we fully support you.
And KwaZulu-Natal, the province, obviously, it was very visible at the conference today. It played its role. Some of the tweets, this one from Madi Boiti, this is his point of view on their role there and what spoils they will or will not get out of this conference.
Definitely, you would know, of course, on Natasha's package, we're there as well when a part, of the delegates from KZN were chanting, when the former president walked in, of course, making different signals, and then this is the sentiment in response to that, simply saying the first round in 2017, it's expressing his view to say they came with zero leadership in terms of the top six, and now he's predicting that's going to be the same thing in terms of they can make all the noise, but the numbers speak on the ground. And that's the sentiment. We need to see that.
And I remember the visuals of that really generating across all media houses a lot of traffic. But let's go to the next one. Just about the general atmosphere here. Yeah. So tell us more about this.
The context here, why we had this tweet, is because it's happening there by Nazareth, tight security. You'll recall that when the ANC, KZN delegates and other delegates expressing their views about the change, and the national chairperson, Gwet Mantashe, had to come in on stage, right, where he was basically now saying, we're going to call security, So basically then after that, there was sort of like calm a bit after the national chairperson said that. So now this tweet is in reference to, they say, there's tough security there at Nazareth, and this in response what the national chairperson had mentioned.
And kudos coming in for the national chairperson, Gwet Mantashe, on his handling of the situation. We're going to put that tweet up next. Let's do that.
Yeah. So in this part, of course, we know it is the national chairperson of the ANC. Gwet Mantashe may have flaws here and there, but he knows the ANC. He has been there when it was met, and it was hectic charismatic back then. But then the sentiment here is that he always rises to the occasion. Of course, they are praising him in this regards, how he handled the matter. As you recall, that the president was supposed to deliver his political report. There was some disruption a bit, and he came in, he stepped in between. And that still continues as we go to the next tweet where they're simply saying, actually, President Cyril Ramaphosa, he needs Gwede Mantashe. And then others responding to this, probably he should get the second term, he should come in as the national chairperson to really continue to be on Cyril's side. You'll recall that we're coming a long week last week where the MPs were voting against the Section 9 Phala report. And then, of course, other MPs came in just saying they were not given a chance to express themselves in between, and others calling the national chairperson as a dictator. So in this regards, then he seems to be someone who's rising to the occasion. But then there's another sentiment around him.
And that's what we're going to bring up now. So different point of view. Mbali Nzimande is saying this: you can't renew the ANC with factional leaders like Gwede Mantashe there.
Yeah, the sentiment here, of course, there are those who say he's showing leadership as a national chairperson. He should always be decisive. He should always protect the president. But others are saying he's double standard. You know, they're saying he's factional. Of course, you'll recall that is made in reference in terms of others who were expressing their views, simply saying they were not given a chance to express their views during the Phala debate matter in the NEC in between. So in this regard, they're saying he can't really be seen as a champion when it comes to the ANC issues. He might have been there for a long time, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's the main person in between. So those are some of the sentiments in social media, and we look forward to see what takes place tomorrow in Nazareth.
And you know, I'm just looking at what's still trending on Twitter at the moment, the hashtags Gwede Mantashe leading the trends. You've got Msholozi, another one, and Esma Khashule, Duma. So it seems like it's the individuals that are driving the traffic on this ANC National Conference for now.
Yeah, that's what's happening. In the beginning, you remember Pulima was once trending in the morning after the press conference where he was giving the media the guidelines, the do and don'ts, just telling them what will be taking place. And there were people expressing their views about how he was conducting that press conference. And later on, we saw former President Jacob Zuma, walking in there. So you are correct to say the trends are actually personality driven, and the videos that were posted in between, the hype around that famous video that we're seeing, where the former president and the current president of the ANC shaking hands in between. So you are correct to say it's the personalities, and that's what we're expecting to see in the next days to come.
And you know, I'm just intrigued. I'm seeing one hashtag here that is trending that says ginger. I don't know if you've seen that and what it's about. And there's this, obviously, a familiar way in which people are referring to their politicians, and some, of course, they use it to belittle them. I don't know, some maybe to humanize them. The Twitter space and how politicians engage with it, this is something that has been brought up on several occasions. Are we seeing any of these politicians tweeting from the conference? What are they saying?
I think social media, we all know that it's a beautiful platform. Politicians during this time and during the elections, they use it to campaign, to share the sentiment, to mobilize. And also, you are correct, to fight amongst each other on social media. But what we're seeing in Nazareth, those who we normally see having interviews, disagreeing, they're shaking hands. You know, they're talking together, they're having a good time, they're having a good laugh in between. And then you also remember there was an earlier tweet that was sent where before the president had went to deliver his political report, he was chilling with the deputy president, having a good time. You know, of course, we're not simply saying they don't see eye to eye all the time. You know, they will have different views. But yes, on social media, they always project themselves to simply, we're not on the same page, we want to express our views, but in person there's a sense of ubuntu in between, and that's when you realize, when you also saw that video between the two former president and current president, they're basically saying, other people in social media saying, yes, we might have different views, but we are one ANC and we belong to one political party. And I think it's
such an important thing to underscore, because I was saying to Kailihle, people who need to understand the animal that is the ANC, that it's not what you see is not all what there is to it. I mean, I was listening to analysis earlier on from a different radio station, and this reporter referring to the hatred between Cyril Ramaphosa and Ace Magashule. And I found myself wondering if we aren't just reading things cosmetically and we're not going deep into the depths of the issue. But much appreciated. Yes, you were about to say.
Yeah, no, definitely. I wanted to say, during the interview that Samgela was doing with Ace, I was there, and Ace Magashule made this point. He said, there's a sentiment that him and President Jacob Zuma are not seeing eye to eye. And he said, they're in good terms. We might not know, maybe they were not in good terms, now they're in good terms. But the point that I'm trying to make is, at the end of the day, there's that sense to say we belong into one political party. We've seen also with the former President Thabo Mbeki expressing his views about the president. Yeah. And then later on, they're aligned, having a good chat in between.
Social media trends, and on the ANC 55th National Conference, that is Sthembiso Sithole sharing with us what they've been covering throughout the day. Do join us for more coverage when we return, and of course tomorrow as it hots up. This is The Globe. Don't go away.